Hello and welcome back to the Brightworks. Today, taking another look at these 4v4 pro level games that we've seen coming out of the tournament. This was recorded on May 6th when the tournament was live, and these recordings are all available on beyondallreasons.com, whatever their website. I'm sure that's probably pretty close. You can just Google that, Beyond All Reasons. Their website will come up and there's a replays tab. You can go look at all these replays for yourself if you're interested. But today, taking a look at a team that I've been very excited to spectate. Our blue team spawning on the northern side. We have in purple Master Bell 2, who is known to go for some very cheeky plays in these 4v4s. We've seen comm drops, we've seen early bomber harassment, we've seen all sorts of wild shenanigans out of him. Excited to see what he brings us today. In this lime green color here, we have Teddy, a well-known player along with a developer, I believe, who is extremely potent within the Beyond All Reasons community. Very, very powerful player. You can see the true skill ranks over here, and we're at almost 50 for both Claret and Teddy. Claret being our player in blue today for our blue team. Going for a bot lab here, and the man really needs no introduction. Claret, absolutely potent. Very, very powerful player. Cannot wait to see what happens today. Very, very good. And finally, in our, let's call this aquamarine. That looks like an aquamarine kind of color to me. We have Grumpy. Now, Grumpy, very, very, very powerful player as well. See, 36 true skill, which is the lowest on the team and still higher than most of the players you're going to encounter on the ladder, which just speaks to the true raw power coming out of this player. We're going to see some interesting plays, I'm sure, coming out of this team. They're all very high skill. They're all very good at coordinating. I'm sure they're in a Discord or some other app talking to each other, so they're going to be making sure that their communication is on point, and I'm excited to see what they're doing. Now, I have to hurry this up because there's already some early tick harassment coming out here from the red team. Spawning in the southern side, we have Stardom, the free-for-all champion and my favorite personal hero. We have Patak, a developer, a moderator, a man of many, many titles, many hats. Definitely very, very, very strong player as well. We have Flash, the player that gives me many a headache as I continually call blitzes flashes for some reason. I guess left a lasting mark on me, maybe killed me with blitzes one too many times. And we have Elmer Fudd wrapping up our red team lineup. Now let's take a look at what damage has been done here. It looks like the blue team was mostly prepared for ticks coming out of the red team. Can't say that that's unbelievable, as the red team, all the players on the red team are very well known for their early harassment. Indeed, we see a few metal extractors were brought low here by a early rover out of Patak. Very, very nice. Now it looks like most of that early harassment has been wrapped up, aside from a few ticks left over from Stardom. Stardom very, very keen to hide ticks around the map and put them in odd locations and then bring them back in later to stop these metal extractors from going up. You can see just how annoying these ticks are being, getting so much damage done with just a few metal pieced together in a tick. Now, if you appreciate these 4v4 games and you want to see more, please do remember to subscribe. We have a lovely community here at the Brightworks, and I'd be happy to have you join. I think we just we just went over 700 subscribers, which is just phenomenal. I'd love to push for 1,000, so I'm gonna ask you all, consider that nicely, and you'll receive your daily dose of Beyond All Reason content. I try to post daily, although I'm thinking about upping to 2 times daily, so maybe let me know down in the comments how you feel about that. Also, what time you're online. I mean, I get most of the statistics about that, so you don't really need to tell me that, but maybe you want to share with everyone down there. Share where you're from. We do have a fairly global community here. Love to hear from you all. As we see, the lines of war are mostly drawn here. Start on making sure that Master Bell does not have any sort of comfortable time pushing forward here. Probably well aware of the shenanigans that Master Bell often gets up to, so we're going to see exactly what goes on here as these two giants clash heads. One tick finding its pathway around here. Yep. Stardom, the micro god that he is, making sure that that tick can get as far into the backline as it absolutely can. Spots the metal extractor unguarded. Now, luckily here, Master Bell was quick enough with the reaction to snipe that tick down. We see another grunt moving forward. And this is really the mark of the pros here, is that they're constantly moving these units around in certain ways, just making sure that there's constantly some sort of harassment going on. You can see moving these pawns around trying to harass this side. He gets the metal extractor right here. That's very nice. Just always making sure that there's some sort of pressure constantly put on just every angle that's available here. And if they're not able to put pressure on any one specific angle, they're always making sure that their pressure is distributed appropriately for their line here, you know, their front line, so to speak. Always making sure that their units are spread out as they need to be or grouped up as they need to be, making sure that they're harassing the right location here. You can see grumping. You're speaking too fast here. I'm just too excited to watch these players go at it. Grumpy here with a couple of aggravators, making sure that these light laser turrets do not keep popping up, making sure to shoot them down just as quickly as they can be built. This is quite a bit of pawns here. This is actually a really dangerous amount of pawns. Patak has managed to push through a couple of blitzes into the back lines here of Master Bell. And so now Master Bell is actually in quite a difficult position here, where he's actually cut off from his main base, meaning that he's going to have to either evacuate his commander or hold here until this push is cleared out. Now these pawns make it all the way around into the back line here. Right as these blitzes were taken care of, they thought they were clear, and suddenly a bunch of pawns appear out of nowhere. Now, conveniently, the army was routed backwards to deal with those blitzes, so if there ever was a time to mop up enemy units, it was right now. But there was a lot of damage here. You can see the economy of Master Bell is in shatters. Now, in the middle of the map here, we see some grunts going toe-to-toe with Rocketeers. Kind of interesting there. Rocketeer is not the perfect option for dealing with grunts, but they definitely do pack quite a punch. Wow, that sentence almost went in the complete wrong direction. Dyslexia nearly got the best of me. Grave robbers here immediately to clean up the mess. Or maybe not. Yeah, clean those up. Very nice. Another mark of the pros, right? Getting that infinite value out of every scrap of metal that they possibly can from the front lines here. Using these grave robbers to make sure that absolutely every lick of metal is pulled off that front line and folded back into their ever-growing war machine. Now this is interesting. We do see a bomber, or well, rather an air lab. We do see a bomber, but also an air lab, more importantly, out of Claret here, who has, I guess, decided that he has enough power on the front lines to hold on to this. Actually, I don't know if Claret is a he. I have no idea about that. Maybe I shouldn't say he. Anyway, Claret holding the front line here, and with the aggravators that have been built, deciding that that is enough forces and can now transition into an air lab, which is quite nice. You all know I'm absolutely fond of the bomber harassment, even building the scouts. Don't take it from me, folks. Take it from the pro. You need these scouts here. These scouts are absolutely necessary. You need to get some scouts in. Going for only 3 bombers, but I think with the skill behind this player, we're definitely only looking at 3 bombers as a, you know, that's how much they need to be successful in this bombing run, because the point of them is to target very specific economic structures. We're looking for these wind turbine clusters. We're looking for construction bot clusters or construction turrets, either or. Anything like that, which might be a potent target for these bombers to take down. And the bombers are sent ahead. The scouts are a little bit late. Yeah, kind of interesting decision with these bombers, but I guess yeah, the timing works out just about right for these scouts to get back here. It would have been unfortunate if there was any anti-air around here, but luckily for Claret there was not, so these bombers are going to have a devastating effect. Yeah, you can see they went up over this mountain, so they didn't even have to dip down very low in order to drop their payload here on this base. A lot of damage being done here. You can see so many wind turbines going down just from a few bombers and their hits. Yep, there they go. And will there be enough? Yeah, that missile misses, so these are actually going to be able to drop one more bombing run. That is quite nice. Man, these pros make it look so easy. Make it look absolutely easy. But that was really a difficult decision, knowing exactly where you could strike, where you can't, and milking the absolute most out of these bombers wherever you can. Yeah, a few of these crossbows, the light anti-air, do manage to find their way into the path of those bombers there and make short work of them. Now Grumpy pushing pretty far forward here. I think probably trying to relieve pressure that Stardom is putting on in this this front lane here. You can see these aggravators facing off against Rocketeers. They're natural enemies. They're born enemies, so to speak, the counterparts here. Interesting that we have aggravators and Rocketeers folded into the same army. We got some turncoats on some side here. Not sure which one though. We've got a lot of pawns running around them. This is just something that Stardom is so good at. You know, he pulls your attention away with one one army just to feint around with the back and stab you right where it hurts the most. There was also quite a lot of grunts that pushed through here, which is quite nice to see. Definitely always nice to help your teammates out by running things down. I did see some units from Teddy were also moved through here. Ah, there they are. The grunts have pushed through, and they're causing quite a bunch of dismay here. Shurikens are out now, and they're going to be able to harass down these, to paralyze, more specifically, these units pushing forward with Stardom. Stardom looking to trade with Master Bell here, probably hoping that they can trade out of range. Oh, the bot lab does go down, though, and that's quite pricey. We need to see a bot lab basically coming up right away here. That does leave these relatively exposed, though, and most of these are going to get paralyzed right away by the Shuriken. Absolutely fantastic jumping on top of all of these with all those Shuriken, allowing these pawns to make very, very short work of all of this. Grave Robber already moved over here to suck up all the metal from those commanders, and that is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Great work from that teamwork right there from Claret, Teddy, and Master Bell, all putting in the work to shut down Stardom's aggression. Will it be the end of him, though? I doubt it. We have a bit of a base expansion here. We're going for a construction turret, making sure that we're upscaling production here. That's a lot of metal that he must be anticipating his enemy is going to have to throw back in his face here from those commanders and all the wrecks here as well. So definitely going to be a concerned Stardom at the very least. Crossbows are out here, so those shurikens aren't going to work anymore. So we're going to have to see brawn versus brawn here as these armies clash. Those medium tanks are pretty good though, so they're just waiting that army from pushing in too far. Now Grumpy here, commanding an impressive lead. We do see the aggravators moving forward step by step, assisted by Grumpy, who's got the light laser turrets put down by the commander, making sure to secure these mexes along the way. This is just growing that economy, giving an ever-growing lead against Elmer Fudd here. And I think there might just be too much for Elmer Fudd to hold on. This is going to come down to a commander trade, I think, as Grumpy pushes forward here, and Elmer Fudd has no other option but to sacrifice his commander in order to keep Grumpy from pushing any further into this base. Now, there are light laser turrets here, these Twin Guard, which are very, very powerful against commanders. They do bonus damage against commanders, so you definitely don't want to push in there with your commander, unless you absolutely know that you can get far enough to destroy everything. Thugs here fighting off against pawns, fending for their lives here. But I think there's enough thugs to deal with their pawns. It's about the same amount of thugs as there were pawns, so we're looking pretty good here for Grumpy. Stardom with an impressive amount of pawns here, though. Moving forward, moving them around, actually, trying to outpace this relatively slow army. But there's a pounder out, and this is going to be quite a pain. Yeah, he knows immediately to run away from that pounder, because that thing will wreck this army of pawns. Very, very good foresight on Teddy's part to make sure that these pawns are mopped up, are mopped up by something that can handle all of them. So the pounder here, if Teddy was an Armada player, probably looking at a Janus, but either way, making the right tactical decision there to help their teammate out quite a bit. Grumpy here with an impressive push. Still, this aggression keeps going. We probably have, we have Resbots back here, making sure that things come back online, making sure that our units get folded back in. Probably would love to see one of these used to mop up all these scraps along the back here, but definitely making sure that these units come back alive, get back in the fight as well as they can, and keep marching forward. Elmer Fudd fending for their life here as the blue army, the Aquamarine army pushes forward. At this point, enough has been rezzed for Master Bell to get back in this game. You can see rebuilding the economy. We've got windmills coming up. We've got a lot of construction turrets rebuilt here. We've got the bot lab built up, but there's basically no metal income. So that's the last thing that they've got to figure out, is how they're going to get some of that metal. Now, one nice way would be to reclaim a lot of dead units, right? That's always a wonderful option for destroying these enemy commanders, folding some more metal back into your base. This is a lot of blitzes pushing past by Flash here. By Patak. Patak with the blitzes, not Flash. Flash has actually been pushed back by Claret quite nicely. Well, nice for Claret. Unfortunate for Flash, but these blitzes are definitely going to cause quite a bit of pain. Now, we do see some shurikens out, but not enough. And yeah, the last of those shurikens go down, so these flashes, damn it. I will probably never stop saying that, but these blitzes do manage to... It's even worse when he's in the game, right? Flash is actually in the game. Anyway, these blitzes make it into the backline here and cause quite a bit of a problem. more shurikens pumped out to try and remedy this as quickly as they can. Those tanks are slightly resistant to these paralysis beams, though, so they take a little bit more per tank. More shurikens per tank, right? So it's a little bit harder, but eventually most of these do get zapped to pieces, pulled apart by the construction turrets at a molecular level. And yeah, now we're seeing a tech transition here from Master Bell. I guess figuring that since Teddy is already holding the line for him, he might as well just tech up and let Teddy hold the line. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think since these guys are communicating, they're going to be well aware of that. So it's not going to come to Teddy's surprise when he looks back and sees a T2 lab. It will be, it's a coordinated effort, which is great. Now that was a lot of metal that Stardom just lost, but there's no way that he's going to be able to recontest that field there. So that's just a ton of metal that's going to go right into the economy of Master Bell here. So there's the funds that you're going to need to build this T2 lab right there, right away. So I think that's great. We do need to see a bit of a economy boost, though. We're looking a little bit shy on the energy production metric here for Master Bell, so I think he's definitely going to have to improve that a little bit if he wants to get back into this, start making T2 units at the very least. These shurikens continually being pumped out by Claret. They are getting shot down by anti-air defenses, though, so this is a bit of a rallying error here. Nothing too huge. Yeah, gets caught almost immediately. That's very nice. Now these medium tanks are pushing forward on basically all fronts. You can see there's a group of medium tanks here for Claret pushing through. There's a group of medium tanks here for Teddy pushing through. You can see there's a bunch of pawns from Master Bell helping mop up whatever was left over here. And I don't know if the red team has enough to hold all this. Flash sending units across trying to help with these medium tanks, but they're looking pretty healthy. A lot of these are barely scuffed up at all, so those pawns are not going to be quite enough, I don't think. The medium tanks get in here and they're going to start causing mayhem as they can just fire away. Construction turrets going down. Those are very expensive, very difficult to rebuild. The pawns get into the base, and the forces of Stardom are completely torn between whether they need to fight the tanks or whether they need to fight these pawns. The answer is both, but there's not enough for both, and so these tanks are going to ravage this base right here. You can see the construction bots pulled to the front lines to try and repair this one hero tank at the very front, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The tank does eventually fall down. These pawns have now caused tremendous amounts of damage. Elmer Fudd has done a phenomenal job of pushing back Grumpy, making sure that this aggression doesn't continue forward. Reviving aggravators looks like the main source of units here that Elmer Fudd is going for, and I think that's quite impressive indeed to come back from that lead. I think Grumpy probably failed to move bots forward. No, he did not. He instead started a T2 bot lab instead, so we actually saw a tech transition, which is why he's being pushed back on this front. But that being said, the yellow player here has been completely eliminated. Stardom, that's right. As soon as the player is off the map, I forget their name every single time. Stardom has been eliminated from this game, and so the lead has gone firmly to the blue team here, who now has a bit of a concave around, if you look at a macro level, sort of a concave in this direction. Against the red team, just highlighting my point there. Grumpy now has the fiends out though, so this folding that had been happening here is going to be stopped quite quickly as we see more and more units being built up here. Tech 2 vehicles also produced now, and we're ready to start pumping these out. We have lightning tanks coming out. We have T2 vehicles being given away so that these other players can contribute a little bit more. More and more bombers being produced here by Claret. I think that's a great option. I think with one of these players already being down, you know that you absolutely, at the very least, have a safe access lane all the way around this side and then into the red base. I think that's going to be a great option for if you want to go for some bombing. Send 2 or 3 scouts that way, and then you'll have your target. Now these medium tanks here, this pounder with this accompaniment of brutes and incisors are all working their very best to guard this the single grave robber here who's sucking up the former base of Stardom. But I think every bit of metal that grave robber pulls back to the blue team is being folded into new units, and that's absolutely phenomenal. You can see one thing that a lot of these pros do is their bars for the resources are slid down quite a bit so that they actually share their resources more effectively with their teammates, and I think that's really important. Teddy in an interesting position here. boxing himself in with with some these, what are they called, dragon's teeth, the little fortifications here to prevent being tick sniped. That's rare. I feel like we don't see that very often. Now, Grumpy's commander was sniped right here, and all of that metal went right back to Elmer Fudd. It was phenomenally well played, and that itself paid for the tech transition here for Elmer Fudd. So now we see Tech 2 units up, but we already have Fiends in the back line. It looks like they had ran around from some other angle. I'm not sure exactly where from, but they had taken some ulterior path, and they have now shredded the back line of the red team here. These medium tanks pushed forward, doing much the same thing. And you can see that now the production facilities for all of the red team have been vanquished. Fiends coming in to mop up the rest of this. We see Brute and Pounder working together here in tandem. They take down the last bot lab for the red team, and now the only player with any kind of production here is Elmer Fudd. And I don't think it's going to be enough. Looks like Patak has grabbed Elmer Fudd's commander and is sending it to its doom. I suppose Elmer Fudd refusing to surrender, and Patak decides it's time to give up this game. That's pretty hilarious. I haven't seen that before. It looks like there's one more commander left. There's Flash's commander right here in the middle of the map. I wonder if we're going to see the same thing come out here from Patak. I guess that was his last transport, so he does not know. But yeah, this game is well and over. Bombers coming in here, and this will be all it takes to completely wipe away Elmer Fudd's lead here. Advanced fusion reactors. Ooh, hanging on by a thread here. 0% health on that one, 2% on this other one. But yeah, the bombers come back in, and they are going to be devastating. There go the advanced solar panels. There goes the economy. And there goes any chance that the red team had of securing any kind of victory here. Now, technically, it did come pretty close. Claret was the last commander alive for the blue team, so it could have been it technically was a very close match there, but I think with the unit presence here from blue, there just was no way that they were ever going to be able to snipe that commander short of some miracle bombing run or something like that. But if you like these 4v4 games and you want to see more of them, well, I hope you'll consider subscribing, because there will be more in the future. I'm going to be covering a lot more of these games, a lot of the pro level games coming out of this tournament here, and those will be releasing over the next few days on this channel. So stay tuned, consider subscribing, and I will see you all in the next video. I guess, well, you know, I'm defaulting to my outro. We're a little too early for that, I guess. I don't know what Flash's plan is. I guess they know where the commander is. Are they really going to try and snipe it? Nope. Commander goes down. There we go. I saw the vision, right? They knew where the commander actually was. They were trying to snipe it there, but yeah, there was just no way with all the anti-air defenses. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.